Hola. Sí.
So the story I'm about to tell you guys is still unraveling as we speak. It's only a month old, but it's so indicative of the times that we live in today. And going into this case pretty much fresh, I tell you, this is just extremely shocking. And when you think that you weren't shocked enough, something else happens and it gets a little bit more disturbing. This is 23-year-old Valeria Marquez. Now, she's a beautiful, rising TikTok star and Instagram influencer in the beauty space, right? So she's sitting inside her salon and she's live streaming to her thousands of fans. And today she's showing off this plush pig she had just received from her good friend, along with a Starbucks drink. She's also seen conversing with a woman. Now, the woman is out of frame, so we don't know who it is. And then we get the sense that someone enters the shop, who she obviously doesn't know. And you can see her mood shift, right? Almost to an apprehensive state. And then a man can be heard asking her if she was Valeria.
Hola. Sí.
What she had basically done was confirm her identity to this man, and without warning, her life ends right here on the spot. But the live stream continues, and the most chilling thing about this freeze frame was that she was looking right at the person that was about to take her life. But another chilling thing was about to happen right there live on stream as well, as her horrified fans watched her slump over and die. Suddenly, Valeria's phone moved, and this is the final thing that the viewers would see. Was it the killer? I mean, whoever it was, the look on this woman's face was not appropriate, I guess you can say, for the scene, the moment that had just happened. And she picked up this phone seconds after Valeria passed. So she must have seen what had happened. She must have at least heard what had happened. But here she was, looking unconcerned. You have someone who had just been shot 3 times with blood pooling on the table. So why did this person look so detached from a scene like that? That wasn't common, I hope. So today we're going to take a deep dive into the case of Valeria Marquez on May 13 of 2025. Atziri Valeria Marquez Lopez was born on February 14 in 2002 in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, where she pretty much remained throughout her life. And at just 16 years old, she landed her first modeling gig with a local Mexican clothing brand called Vicio Vanidad. Now, for a lot of girls, that would have been a dream come true, right? And Valeria knew that. And she made sure she didn't take it for granted. Basically throwing herself, into this profession. She's learning the ropes. She's only 16 years old, right? She has a lot to learn, and she knew that. She's promptly showing up to photo shoots, not being late, not being a diva, and at the same time figuring out, how to make her personality shine through the camera. And that early confidence and work ethic set the stage for even more opportunities. And by the time she was 19, Valeria's work earned her enough exposure to be entered into a Miss Rostro beauty pageant in 2021. I looked up Rostro and it means face. So basically this is the Miss Face beauty pageant. And guess what? Her face won. And this would open up even more avenues now that everybody knows her name, right? Especially in the beauty circles. But she didn't want to be known as just another pretty face, right? That she was someone that put in the time, right? Taking the risks and made something happen. And she knew that something like winning a beauty pageant, people are going to just scroll past that in the future, right? It's not going to mean much to them. What she had to do at this young age, I wish I had this mindset at this young age, that things like being beautiful didn't mean much, right? Unless she was able to use her platform to at least inspire more girls who wanted to be in her field, reach as many people as possible, and for herself, open the doors that she's always dreamed of as a kid. And so from there on, Valeria Valeria, I assume that's how you say it, Valeria Marquez built her career steadily as a beauty and lifestyle influencer, gaining this loyal following by sharing makeup tutorials, beauty tips, and just basic glimpses into her life and into her aspiring entrepreneurial journey, so to speak. And it's not like she didn't enjoy the fame, right? The fame was a bonus, more or less, to a degree. But it wasn't the thing that was going to make her content, right? And she decided, this is probably in her 20s now, early 20s, that she was going to take a major step. And so with some guts, she started to plan out her dream of building a beauty spa, right? So she started the process of opening her own beauty salon, and she even found this ideal location in a strip mall in Zapopan, Jalisco. And she wanted her salon to offer a range of things, from hair extensions. I heard they also give massages. Don't quote me on that. That's weird. Maybe it's not weird. I don't go to salons. But it's basically a place for, self-care and beauty in that community. Oh, is that a mosquito? And so Blossom, the beauty lounge, in August of 2024 would open. Now, while specific details about how this place was actually funded, haven't been really made public. But it isn't a stretch to think that maybe she's parlaying her growing fame. I mean, she is Miss Face. So what I'm saying is it's reasonable to think that a bank would give her a loan against her fame. They do that at times, right? Look at Sean Kingston. He parlayed into many watches that he never paid back. So it's reasonable to think that her growing influencer career, a bank would look at that and go, okay, we'll give you the money to open this shop. You're famous, right? So she's automatically gonna draw customers. And she was making money through all her platforms or whatnot, through brand partnerships and, possibly personal savings. We never know how much money people have, but what we can say and what we do know is that Valeria's move into business showed that she was constantly thinking. She always wanted to constantly grow, and she was turning her online success into something more tangible, right? A brick and mortar salon shop, creating a physical space that reflected her passion for beauty and entrepreneurship. So her rise to fame was not in the least overnight, right? But her promising career and this beautiful life that she was creating for herself would be cut short in an instant. So now let's talk about, that day. And I will be as thorough as I can be without being too overly graphic because there's no need. And this case is still very new, and the Mexican police are seemingly holding a lot close to the vest, right? They're keeping a lot of information from the public, but I will be, or at least I will try to be as thorough as I can from what I can piece together from credible articles, plausible claims, and actual descriptions from the Jalisco prosecutor about security footage that has not yet been released. So first, let's get an idea of what this salon looks like, right? And I have to give a shout out to Pren Sam X for his TikTok, and which gives us an overview of the spot after the tragedy, giving us a look at the location. And as you can see, Blossom looks kind of like the centerpiece of this particular strip mall. And if you look behind Pren Sam X, you could see that the city actually looks pretty nice, right? This feels like a high-end area. But what I read about Zapopan, right? It is the largest state in Jalisco, Mexico, but it is also ranked 6th in all of Mexico for murders and has the reputation for being the hub of the Mexican cartel and their questionable activities, right? And so as nice as it looks, it isn't the safest place by a long shot. So on May 13, towards the evening, Valeria started a live stream, and she was streaming directly inside her salon. And at first it was the, usual stuff that she would always do on these streams. She's showing off new products, she's chatting about her day and interacting with the stream basically, right? Like she always did. But today she tells the chat about an interesting little story that she heard from one of her employees named Erica. So Valeria is a busy businesswoman and a social media star. So she's not always at the salon. So she has staff there to take care of it and run business while she's away. Well, today, while she was away, a mail courier shows up on a motorcycle, right? He had a motorcycle helmet on, and he had a gift for Valeria. And he said that since she's not there, he'll come back because the gift was too expensive to just leave there. So when Valeria finally gets to the shop, this is what Erica tells her. And to Valeria, the first thing that comes to her mind is that, one of her supporters is sending her a gift again, which she would receive and show off on stream countless times. But she also mentioned to her chat that it also made her feel a bit uneasy now and again, and knowing that he said that this was an expensive gift that he couldn't even trust with her own employees, that made her feel even more uneasy because she liked it and didn't like that kind of attention. But I assume you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Now, this part is creepy, okay? And this is translated from her live stream and thank goodness that it was, because I don't speak Spanish. And Valeria, all she talked was Spanish. And so you have her here, and she's talking to her stream about the gift. And I'm just going to read it as it was written. They were probably going to kill me or something. Now, I assume she's joking with her stream, with this one, all right, about that misdelivery, because if she wasn't joking, why is she just sitting there? Okay, so the next thing she says is most likely her responding to a question about whether or not they left the gift behind. Someone who wasn't listening. Okay, so Valeria responds, no, they just said they had a gift and that he had to go get it. A very expensive gift. That's supposedly that this wasn't just a normal gift. And after saying all this, Valeria would confide in her chat here that she felt uneasy, that she was worried and wondered why the carrier didn't leave the gift with her employees. And she goes on to tell chat something which now in hindsight, maybe she should have listened to, right? That intuition, that woman's intuition. And so Valeria tells the chat what the employees said to her about this delivery man. Because they're saying that his face was completely covered, so you couldn't see his face. Now, throughout most of this stream that I've been able to see, you can see that Valeria is holding this plush stuffed pink pig and drinking a Starbucks drink. Now, credible sources like NBC News report that this was given to her by her good friend named Vivian De La Torre, who had given her this stuffed animal earlier in the day. And you could see her on stream. She's hugging the pig, showing it to her viewers. And it showed that her mood was happy. It was jolly, right? It seemed like she had nothing to worry about, but she might be playing it off for her stream about how much she was actually concerned about this gift that was still on its way. And then she would sit back and tell her stream again that she still found it rather odd, and if she should leave the salon. She actually said aloud that she is going to leave the salon, and allegedly, okay? Clarify it in the comment section if you must, but I have to say allegedly because I'm not too sure this happened, or if it was fluff, more fake news landmines that I'm stepping on, okay? So she was on the phone with her friend Vivian, right? And it was said that Vivian encouraged her to stay, to see what that expensive gift was. And so this effectively made Valeria stay. And she would keep streaming, and now it was about 6:30 at night now, okay? And Valeria started to grow bored, okay? She's pretty much entertaining her stream at this point while waiting for this gift. Towards the end of this stream, she's speaking Spanish, and I'm thinking that she's just chatting with her stream until I hear a woman's voice respond back to her.
¿Tú crees? ¿O lo viste muy serio? ¿Serio?
Porque estaba aquí y yo dije, y él dijo, Valeria Marquez. Y yo dije, sí. O sea, como que me supiera yo.
And it sounds like a woman that is probably just, a few feet away, maybe standing at the entrance of the salon or whatnot. There's a slight echo, but you could tell that she's a bit far away. And according to certain articles, the direction that Valeria was staring at, that would have been where the entrance was. So this woman was standing at the doorway. And so all we can see as the viewer is her eyes looking off camera at someone. And she told her chat, he's coming. basically informing them that, that mail carrier that they had been waiting for this whole time, well, he's back. And so from this point, the viewers watched Valeria sit there, staring at this man approaching her. And on her lap was still that stuffed pig she was holding. And she would never actually release it from her clutches. And I would wager a guess that she was finding comfort in this pig, right? In this seemingly odd situation, the softness and the fur. It's kind of like a stress ball for her at the moment. And I get that feeling, from context, right? Because of the way that she looked, to me at least, that she knew this situation was not normal. Then the chat heard a man's voice ask, "Valeria?" And Valeria responded, "Yes." The next thing you would see is Valeria reaching over as if to turn off the stream. When I first saw the video, that's what I thought she was doing, but she didn't. All she had done was mute the stream.
No, sí.
Hola. Sí.
And as her audience now is watching in silence, suddenly Valeria clutches her chest and, slightly doubles over. And then you see her jerk back again because she had just taken another gunshot to the head at this point. And then there's one more jerk. See, the thing is, I watched the video, okay? It's actually not hard to find. I mean, in mainstream platforms, you're not going to find it. Maybe you will, I don't know. But I dug deep and I actually found the footage. And I'm telling you, it's almost surreal. It makes you feel really, I guess you could say, human. Okay? When you watch life leave someone else's body right in front of your eyes. Because watching it, it almost felt like everything was in slow motion. Because after the second shot, where she jerked back a little bit, she started to slowly double forward again. And then you can see there is a third shot that hit her in the head again. And you don't see blood splatter. It really did look like everything was in slow motion. Her body was just drifting, and you could just feel the life extinguish. And it was extremely sad to watch. I don't recommend that you guys watch it. My description was enough. And once her body laid to rest, against the table, blood was starting to pool on the table. And don't forget, people are watching this live. The stream is still running. The next thing Valeria's followers would see on screen, and the first time I saw it, I got goosebumps. I did not expect this part. The phone is picked up by somebody else, and then a woman's face appears right in front of them. The expression, it's always about this woman's expression that I feel like gives everything away, right? She had no emotions about what just happened, what she clearly had seen in front of her, okay? This woman stares directly into the phone and turns it off. And I just think she thought when Valeria reached over that one point in the video, she thought Valeria had turned off the stream. So when she picked up the phone and saw that the chat was moving a mile a minute, I bet you panic erupted in her brain and she would just quickly turn off the stream. And needless to say, afterwards, the internet exploded with rumors and theories in which I will try to steer away from because it's pointless. It's too outrageous, some of these theories, and there's just way too many of them. I mean, please have at it in the comment section for the algorithm if you must lay out these theories, but just know that I won't entertain it. Because the main question that bugs me, at least, as it should you, is who this woman is. And then the chat started spamming Vivian's name. Vivian, that's the one that gave her that cute pink pig and the Starbucks drink. Valeria's good friend. So now we must ask, well, who is Vivian really? So Vivian and Valeria were very close. At least that's what it seemed from all outward appearances, from the pictures that they took on social media and the videos they created on TikTok. They looked as like two peas in a pod, and they looked very similar as well. But you must know that Vivian is not on the same scale, not close to the same type of success as Valeria. And on the day everything went down, Vivian, allegedly, according to the people, like I told you before, was the one that was urging Valeria to hang around the salon and wait and see what this expensive gift was, even though Valeria had expressed that she was bored and wanted to go home, that she felt uneasy. That tiny detail immediately got the internet buzzing, with some of Valeria's followers suspicious, of course, that Vivian might have known more than she was letting on, or maybe she was the mastermind behind this whole thing altogether. Vivian, okay, for her part, was quick to push back against this hate, against these allegations, right? She said that neither of them, her or Valeria or anybody else, could have in a million years ever predicted what had just went down, and that she's heartbroken, and that Valeria was like a sister to her. So the authorities of Jalisco came out with a statement to try to put some rumors to rest, and thank goodness that they did. They made it clear officially that Vivian is not suspected, and they put out a very odd statement as well that no one is being investigated at the moment, which has to be a lie, right? And just going back to how Valeria was murdered, you'll never be able to convince me, at this point at least, that this was not a hit. I mean, you're talking about 1 to the chest and 2 headshots. Man, that's a cold execution. So now it goes back to the question, well, if it isn't Vivian, then who is the woman that picked up the phone? And honestly, guys, I'm having a little bit of a hard time sometimes telling faces apart, keeping these characters straight at times, because we're talking about the beauty world. So phone filters are set on 100% and makeup is caked on to the max. Girls have camel eyelashes, lips that look like they've just been stung by bees, and all of them have it. They all kind of look the same to me. And this isn't a Mexican thing. I can't tell Korean pop stars apart. Everybody is trying to look like a Barbie in this situation. So we just have no idea what people look like anymore, right? In reality. So I'm thinking, when this woman picked up Valeria's phone, her filter is still on. Her beauty filter is still on. It's probably not giving us her exact look, so to speak, but enough, right? I mean, there's got to be enough. She was directly in the camera. Even if it adjusted her features somewhat, I'm assuming someone knows exactly who this woman is. And when I looked at who Vivian is and I looked at this woman on the camera, I actually thought it was Vivian for a while. I mean, it kind of looked like her. But then I saw this lady, and that would be Erica. That is the employee that told Valeria about the gift earlier that day. I'm assuming that this is the same Erica that was still there and talking to Valeria at the doorway just when the mail carrier came in. So this murder happened just a month ago, okay, from the time that I'm making this video right now. And there's still reports that it's Vivian, and there's still reports that it's Erica. So who knows what we can believe, but all I know is only the police, certain detectives, maybe certain politicians even, and of course the actual killers and the people who plotted it, those are the only characters that know exactly what happened at this point. We, the public, will get that information later. Really, we should just stay out of the weeds. Because why? Because in this shopping center, in this prestigious, nice, high-end shopping center, there has to be something recording at all times. People with their cell phones out. There's bound to be crystal clear 4K footage of who this woman is, because the state prosecutor has already stated that the security cameras have caught those motorcycle guys, right? And both men either kept their helmets on, but they were masked. So finding out their identity will be a little difficult, but I don't doubt that they can. So what I'm saying is, there's no need to speculate, really, if the Mexican police know exactly who this woman is. They know who this woman is, guys. And because they haven't officially stated any kind of suspect, it leads me to believe, from all the cases that I've done in the past, that they're holding out, okay? This particular woman that picked up the phone, she is a small fry. It would seem to me that they're building their case for maybe a bigger fish to fry, because this story is about to take another turn. So, reporters from one of Mexico's biggest publications, and it's called Milenio, said that police were actually looking at a cartel guy named the Double R. I won't say his real name. I'm not going to get into the weeds with the cartel. Just know that this guy, he's no small-time criminal, and he's supposedly high up in the rankings of the cartel Jalisco, the new generation Jalisco. According to certain outlets, he and Valeria had been revolved romantically for months at this point, and allegedly friends said that this cartel member has a very scary streak of jealousy. You know, the jealous type. Of course he is. And they would say that, you know, Valeria getting all types of gifts, all these flashy gifts from her followers or whatnot, would irk him, especially those gifts from the male side of things. And she would always show off these gifts, right, to show her gratitude to the people that are giving it to her, you know, showing it off live on stream. And you know, Double R, he's not always strangling people, right? He's not always loading his gun or whatnot. He needs a break sometimes, right? He needs a little Double R time sometimes. Sit down, watch his girlfriend stream only to see her hugging another man's teddy bear. And you know, that would enrage him all the more, all over again, and probably go back and strangle a few more people. And interestingly, okay, the police are mainly leaning towards what is called femicide. And it turns out that femicide is actually a big problem in Mexico, it appears, because the femicide is basically murdering somebody, a woman, for merely the crime of being a woman. And there's this disturbing stat that I came across that 10 women a day in Mexico are actually murdered. A day, guys, are murdered and are categorized as a femicide. Whether it's femicide or not, that's a troubling number of women to go missing or dying every day in Mexico. So at least we could find something positive in Valeria's murder, right? Because she was more high profile, and this case is all over Mexico. Not so much in the States, but it's well covered over there. Her death has pushed a lot of talking points about femicide, you know, to the forefront. How women feel incredibly unsafe over there, both in real life and online. But again, in Valeria's case, femicide is another speculation, but by the Mexican police, you know, until the story completely unravels for us. So, at this point in the story, nobody should pretend to know anything. Nobody knows until they let us know. And all in all, it's an incredibly tragic story, you know, especially for Valeria's family and her loved ones. All we can do is wish them the best, right? Send our condolences and pray that, you know, this isn't dragged out, that they would have quick justice and a resolute one at that. And just to end the video, I need to rant about TikTok. Okay, now I have a TikTok account and I've had it for years now, but I have not visited it in ages. I have content on there, like little shorts, right, to come over to my YouTube channel or whatnot. But since Valeria was a TikTok star, I went over to TikTok, you know, to grab some footage, and all it did was make me remember why I fucking hate TikTok. Because I'm telling you, oh my fucking Lord, the shit that I had to sift through, the brain rot that I had to endure in order to get like a morsel of sustenance. There's so much AI trash. I mean, YouTube is littered with them as well, but oh my God, TikTok is another level. There's so many content creators that will just straight up make shit up. These are the landmines that I step into. People are just making shit up for content. I had to maneuver through tarot card readers, for psychics that said they saw the whole thing. And I'm not talking about they saw it on the live stream. No, these psychics saw it in their mind's eye. And there's even an elite amount of TikTokers that believe that Valeria faked the whole thing. She faked getting shot 3 times. She faked her own death only because they felt it was plausible that she needed to do this to escape Double R's wrath, that she had broken up with him. He's looking to kill her, so she had to fake her own. No. This young 23-year-old girl has died. Let's leave it at that. You don't know any more than any other people, so just leave it at that. Let her rest in peace. Let her family rest in peace. They don't need to be hearing stories about how their daughter faked her death. There's no conclusive evidence for a lot of this shit being spewed on TikTok. What is there? There's just no safeguard. Right? The dam is broken. Let's just let the water flow in. So my advice to you guys, okay, stay away from TikTok, you know? LeBron, keep the family away. Keep the family safe. And so now, just go protect the ones that you love and love the ones that protect you.